Hello, Catamounts. Hi, I'm Kelly Brown, Chancellor, Western Carolinian University. I hope you all had a great winter break and that you're ready to come back on this January 25th for spring 2021 semester. Last December, before we broke for the break, Patrick Clemens and I, the editor of the Western Carolinian, met and we talked. And one of the things that Patrick asked was, how can we get your message out there? How can more of our students hear from you? And so one of the things we talked about was maybe doing a video and how we could do a video maybe once a month for the whole semester, January, February, March, April, and May, for students to be able to hear from me directly. So Patrick and I decided that we like this idea and we hope you like it too. So he has come up with some questions that he thinks are on the top of your mind that he would like for me to talk about today. So again, we're here on January 25th, 2021, beginning our semester with remote instruction. My bet, you didn't plan on beginning your spring 2021 semester like this. Neither did I, or neither did the majority of our faculty and staff here at Western. But let me tell you how that decision came about. We used data to make that decision. We talked to our local partners. We talked to our local health department. We talked to our hospital. We work with coordinate with our local school districts. And we used data to help make that decision. And so a couple weeks ago, we made that decision to go into remote for the first 3 weeks, resuming face-to-face and hybrid on February the 15th. Now, the question I know you're all asking and thinking to yourself, Chancellor, why did it take you so long to make this decision? And I'm sure that it did feel like a long time to you. You feel that I could have maybe made it a little bit sooner. But let me go back to that idea of data and how we use the data to make our decisions. We take a look at what's happening in the county. We look at what's happening in the region, in the state, and in the nation. We look at positivity rates. We look at hospitalization rates. We look at all that data to make the determination. What we try to do is predict out what's going to happen. Predict what's going to happen on January the 25th. What's going to happen on February the 1st, February the 8th, February the 15th. And so one of the things we decided to do in looking at the data was that we could begin classes in a remote instruction modality on January 25th, knowing that we could resume on February the 15th in hybrid and face-to-face. And so that's what our plan was. So about a week or so ago on a Tuesday, we made that decision late in the afternoon. That evening, I called President Hans, the head of our University of North Carolina system, and told him of our plans. That following Wednesday, we crafted our message to the community as well as to our community partners to let them know what was happening. We wanted to make sure we got the message as close as possible because we wanted to have all of our FAQs ready to go because we knew there'd be lots of questions around dining and housing and books and those kinds of things. So we wanted to get that all prepared. So it was midday on Wednesday that we sent out the message. I know that you're thinking it could have been sooner. I will promise you, as I did when I was talking to Patrick, when we can make the decision as soon as possible, we will. That was the soonest that we could make the decision for spring 2021. And so again, I ask for patience and a little grace as we continue to make these decisions using data and using data to predict what is going to be happening in the future. So I appreciate that grace and patience from you. Now, I also know there was inconvenience for many of you that was caused for students, particularly those students who are living in the residence halls. Many of you were planning to come back on that Martin Luther King weekend on January 15th, and that weekend coming back, moving into the residence halls and spending that whole next week moving into the residence halls. And I understand that inconvenience. I also understand that many of you got COVID tests to be able to come back into the residence halls because we required you to have a negative COVID test 3 to 5 days prior to being able to get back in the residence halls. And so I understand that some of those tests that you actually had to pay for. And so one of the things that we're going to work on is we're working on a process to be able to have those expenses that you incurred for those COVID tests to be reimbursed to you. And so please watch for that information as we come out to be able to reimburse those expenses that you received, that you partook in, but because of those COVID tests that you had to take to move back in. Now, you will still be required to have a COVID-19 test before you come back into the residence halls as you move back on the week of February the 8th. And so 3 to 5 days before you move back in, you will have to have a negative 19 COVID test. Now, what I'm also hearing is that there's a challenge many of you are having and getting COVID-19 tests in your local communities. And so you're being challenged with, because you're asymptomatic, it's hard for you to get a test. Let me talk about the process that's happening there. Many of our local health departments, our clinics, are actually moving from testing of asymptomatic as well as contact tracing in their local communities and their health departments to the vaccine. And this is the right thing that they need to be doing. They need to be moving in that direction. So what this means is it might be a little bit harder to be able to get a COVID-19 test if you're asymptomatic, meaning having no symptoms. However, I know if you are persistent that this can be done. So be persistent. Contact your health department, contact your local pharmacy, contact a local clinic, and to see if you can get it. Explain to them that it's required of you to be able to enter back into the university. Most of these places understand that and know that many universities are requiring a COVID test before they enter back into the university. So again, persistence, okay? Be persistent in this. If for some odd reason you cannot get a COVID test prior to coming back and moving into the residence halls, contact our health services and they will work with you to find some options to be able to move back into the residence halls. Now, I want to talk about fall. I want to talk about you and how well you did last fall. Because of you, we were able to stay open during the whole fall semester. We started in August, we ended right before Thanksgiving, went and moved into remote instruction before the Thanksgiving holiday, and then to online for our final exams. You all did it. You did an amazing job at wearing your face covering when you couldn't social distance, wearing your face covering when you could social distance, limiting your social gatherings, and washing your hands and using hand sanitizer. You were amazing at this. I was so proud that you were able to do this. And I say you because it was your commitment to wanting to be educated here at Western in a residential learning environment that allowed us to be able to get through fall. Many of you told me in the summer and all through the fall, Chancellor, we want to be here. We want to be here as much as we can in our classes with our faculty, and we want to be here learning in that way, and we were able to do it. When many other universities had to close their doors and go to completely online education in the fall, we stayed open. The catamounts did it. And I'm so proud of each and every one of you because your commitment to your education here at Western Carolina University. As stressful as fall semester was, and it was stressful, we know it was stressful for all of us. As stressful as it was in the fall, many of you excelled in the classroom. 1,948 of you were Chancellor's List recipients. 3,395 of you are on the Dean's List. Many of you excelled during fall despite a pandemic. So congratulations to you all. And again, extremely stressful semester, but we can continue to do it again in the spring. Again, if we follow our Catamount Cares guidelines that we have, okay? Wearing your face covering, social distancing, wearing your face covering when you can't social distance, minimal gatherings. Okay, you live off campus, live on campus, I don't care where you live, okay? As long as you limit your social gatherings. I know you want to be with your friends, but let's please limit your social gatherings. And if you're with your friends, wear your face covering, okay? And social distance. This will help us get us through the spring and be as successful as we were in the fall. We have to be vigilant. Part of this is at the same time, I will say to you that there's been some questions about this new this new virus that is coming out from England, from the UK, and from Brazil. That it is a more virulent virus, and what it means is it transmits easier, which requires these behaviors: wearing your face covering when you can't social distance, wearing your face covering when you can social distance, limit your gatherings, and washing your hands and using hand sanitizer. We're going to help us with that transmission. So again, as we begin the fall semester, those are all the things that we're going to need to do. Patrick wanted me to mention the HERF funds. HERF funds are from the federal government that allows for us to be able to help students with their educational expenses during the fall semester or during the spring semester. When we get those funds, in which we know what our allocation is, we haven't gotten it yet. When we get those allocated and we get those, we will send out the message through Patrick and through Dawson Spencer, your SGA president, get the word out there to you of how to access those HERF funds to be able to assist you with your educational expenses. Again, I look forward to seeing you all as you move into the residence halls on the week of February 8th, and as we resume into our hybrid and face-to-face classes the week of the February 15th. But between now and then, have a great start of the year. Begin your classes. Make sure you start your assignments. Start opening up those syllabus. Start reading those assignments. Reaching out to your faculty. Talking to your faculty. They've got office hours. They can do it via Zoom or via the phone or via email. We've got our advisors here, our tutors here. We are all here available to make sure that your spring semester is a successful spring semester like our fall was. Again, thank you all very much for a great fall. We're starting the spring 2020 semester in remote instruction for 3 weeks, resuming on February 15th with hybrid and face-to-face instruction. Wear your face covering, social distance, limit your gatherings, use hand sanitizer, wash your hands, and as always, go Cats!